All right, guys, so if you're watching this video, it's because you're done correcting your text. Good job. And now you're ready for creative writing. So, creative writing is basically I'm giving you the beginning of a story and you have to continue it. Okay. So, you have to be creative in your writing. Okay. So, you don't have to go now, but later you will have to go to corners, writing corner. All right. Then you will scroll down and go to creative writing. So here we have 5 topics, but I will use the first one to give you an example. So you cannot use the pet sitter, okay? It's mine. All right. So here's an example of creative writing. The pet sitter. With the introduction below, you must continue the story in an original way. Instructions. Your text must contain about 100 words. So, guys, you are able to write 100 words. Okay, you can go, you could do a little more, but not, you can go to 90 words maybe, but not below that. Okay, your verbs must be in the past, very important, and you must include 5 sequence words in your text. Now, remember, my evaluation grid will probably be built around these instructions. So make sure you follow them. Okay. Okay. So now the little introduction. The ad said, wanted, pet sitter, needs somebody to look after a little Rexy while I am away, $200 a day. $200 a day for looking after somebody's pet? Easy money, I thought. So I took the job. When I arrived at the house, a man gave me the keys and said, Rex is out back. Then he left with his suitcase. So I went to the window, and there was a 5-ton T-Rex. It had just eaten the neighbor's cat. Oh my God. So now, first thing you have to do, you must do, it's an obligation. You have to make a plan. Okay? So very short plan, not too extensive. Short sentences just to put your ideas in order. Okay, so here I wrote, I panicked and I was disgusted because he's eating the cat, right? I had to find a solution, so I went to the bathroom to find drugs and to the kitchen to get food so I could put the drug in the food so he could eat it and pass out. Then I called Rexy. I gave him the food. He passed out. I tied him up with wire and waited for the owner. So you see, pretty simple, like main ideas. If you want to add stuff, delete stuff, it's that's the moment when you have to do that. Okay, so I want you to do a plan, very short plan. Okay, then you do your draft. Okay, so here basically what I did, I just took these sentences, these words, and put them in a short paragraph. Okay, so this is like your first gist. Okay, I panicked and was disgusted. I decided to go to the bathroom to find drugs. I went to the kitchen to find food. I called Rexy. I gave him the food. He passed out, and I tied him up with wire. I waited for the owner and called the cops. So you see, pretty simple. Um, Not too fancy, but all my ideas are there. So now it's time to add or delete stuff. Okay, so I'll just, I did my first reading out loud in my head. It makes sense, sounds good. So I'll just go back to the instructions. It says here your text must contain about 100 words. Um, how many words do I have here? I believe I have 50 words, which is not enough. Okay. Then it says your verbs must be at the past. I panicked is at the past. I was disgusted. I decided. I went to the kitchen to find food. Remember, to, then your verb is at the infinitive, right? So this is okay. I called Rexy. I gave him the food. He passed out. I tied him up. I waited for the owner and called the cops. Okay, it's at the past. Then you must include 5 sequence words. Oh, I didn't do that. So I could start with first. So first, I panicked and was disgusted. Okay, that sounds a little weird. First, I panicked and was disgusted. So maybe first I panicked, exclamation mark. Then I was so disgusted about the situation. This means like about, okay, I could write, instead of about the situation, I could be more precise and write, I was so disgusted about Rexy eating the cat or the neighbor's cat. I could write the neighbor's cat. What did I do? So then I was so disgusted about Rexy eating the neighbor's cat that I had to find a solution. All right. So first I panicked. Then I was so disgusted about Rexy eating the neighbor's cat that I had to find a solution. I decided to go to the bathroom to find drugs. I could write maybe time was running. So I decided to go to the bathroom to find drugs. After, right, sequence words. So you know what you could do? I will highlight the sequence words so I know I will know if I have enough sequence words. So time's running after. All right, I already have 4. After I went to the kitchen to find food, I called Rexy. I gave him the food. He passed out. You see, this is like, I called Rexy. I gave him the food. He passed out. So maybe I could write this in a different way. Let me think. After I went to the kitchen to find food, maybe I could be more precise. After I went to the kitchen to find food, and fortunately, there was a big T-bone on the first shelf of this. All right, I went to the kitchen to find food, and fortunately, there was a big T-bone on the first shelf. I called Rexy inside, right? Because I wanted to come inside. I called Rex inside and I gave him the food stuffed. It's true, stuffed with drugs. I'm trying to think about a type of drug that make people pass out, but it's not there. So I called Rexy inside and I gave him the food stuffed with drugs. Maybe after a few minutes, after a few seconds, because, otherwise he would eat me. After a few seconds, after a few seconds, he finally passed out. Period. So happy. After a few seconds, that could be a transition word. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm already there. So I called Rex inside and I gave him the food stuffed with drugs. After a few seconds, he finally passed out. I was relieved, right? So first, then, I could use then again. Then, I tied him up with wire. I tightly tied him up with wire and waited for the owner to come back and call the cops. Well, you know what? It was not in my plan. And no, finally, I don't think I called the cops. So I'll just delete this. All right. So let me read this again. First, I panicked. Then I was so disgusted about Rexy eating the neighbor's cat that I had to find a solution. Time was running, so I decided to go to the bathroom to find drugs. After I went to the kitchen to find food, fortunately, there was a big T-bone on the first shelf. I called Rex inside and I gave him the food stuffed with drugs. After a few seconds, he finally passed out. I was relieved. Then I tightly tied him up with wire and I waited for the owner to come back. So how many words do I have here? I'm at 96 words. So maybe I could add